There is absolutely no way that we will increase taxes on lower-income families and middle-class families. People are having a hard enough time already. Costs are going up and people are having a hard enough time already. Having said that, the wealthiest Ontarians, the most profitable corporations, many of whom did very well during this pandemic, are going to be asked to pay their fair share.
So the Ontario New Democrats have released the party's election platform ahead of the June 2nd date. For reaction to this, we're joined live by political strategist Aleem Kanji, principal at Aleem Kanji and Associates. Good to chat with you this afternoon, Aleem. So lower income and middle income tax freeze or no tax hikes there. Let's start at that point there. I don't think that's a huge surprise, not to threaten any tax increases there, but there's hints at more tax for sort of what she calls the wealthy. Where do you see that going?
You know, listen, NDP first out of the gate. We've got an election obviously coming up in June for those that are not paying attention just yet. But this was a really interesting announcement around the platform that the NDP released this morning. And it's an income tax freeze for households that are making $200,000 or less. Very interesting because it does kind of cross into that territory of something that is really for the little guy. For people that are struggling as well. Affordability going to be a key theme in this election. It crosses boundaries, certainly with the Conservatives and the Liberals. And so, you know, I don't think the NDP is being shy of trying to be seen as courting those that are on that spectrum and that are looking for that income tax freeze coming out of this election if they get elected for the NDP.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, NDP's taxing the wealthy wouldn't sort of be that's a headline you'd never write because it's sort of an obvious. We assume that is going to be coming. But you mentioned affordability, which is something all of the parties, Aleem, are of course going to be talking about between now and June 2nd. And not only did you talk about the tax freezes, but also rent control. No more hiking rents when tenants move out and new tenants come in. That's a pretty significant plank as well.
Yeah, listen, affordability, inflation, cost of living. This is going to be the omnipresent theme, I think, going into this election. I think most people are concerned about what's in their pocketbook. We've seen, obviously, checks being handed out for stickers from the governing Conservatives, and everyone's concerned about what's in their pocketbook. Now, this pledge to keep rents frozen for what the last tenant paid. I mean, I think we got to kind of ask ourselves, who's enforcing this? How feasible is this? How are they going to make sure this happens from North Bay to North York? Like, what are we spending to make this happen? And quite frankly, for all three parties and for all their platforms, is this being costed out in the context of the deficit and debt that we have in this province? These are not going to be costed out platforms. The closest that we'll get to that is by the governing Conservatives when Premier Ford and Minister Bethlen Falvey released their budget on Thursday, because there will be numbers around that. But for everyone else, what's the cost of doing this? We heard a number this morning in the NDP platform around $475 million for universal pharmacare. Where's that money coming from? How does it jive with what their federal cousins are doing in Ottawa? The NDP is promising, and what's being the manifestation of the marriage between the federal Liberals and the federal NDP. It's interesting that Andrea's kind of jumping above that and kind of saying, I'm not going to wait for that to happen. I want to do that right now, but at what cost, I think is the real question here.
Yeah, and like you said, Aleem, we're going to see the full budget from the Conservatives coming up this Thursday. In the meantime, Aleem Kanji from Aleem Kanji and Associates, appreciate the time this afternoon. Thanks so much.
Great to be with you, Nick.
All right, take care.